Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to My Regret, which is episode 169 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I am your host. With me, as always, is Charmer, and our special guests tonight. We have Matt Nguyen, the patron that achieved Charger's Chamber of Charcoal first on the show as a patron. And I put out there for some fucking reason that if you do this, you can co-host the show. Well, I also didn't say you couldn't bring a friend. So with us is the Dr. Runebabe herself, Anna Shreve, as well. So welcome, team. And behind there is Dr. Chris Shreve as well. There's a lot of doctors in the house, which we need because we are not well people. Matt, Anna, how's it going?
Pretty good.
That's what surviving after today.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Darick, okay. So Darick, I know you didn't do anything in Flesh and Blood. And I know the part of that is because you doubled your children somehow over the course of this week. Normally, it takes time to procreate. What the fuck happened?
So normally this is where I would do like a really funny bit, but I feel like given recent events and sometimes my tone and delivery, I'm going to put on my serious Charmer dad voice for a moment so that we can talk about this, and then I will proceed to joke about it for the rest of the episode. But
perfect. Thank you.
The short version is that I found myself becoming a foster parent on Friday. It's kind of an emergency situation due to the gravity of the allegations, protecting the people involved and whatever. There's not a ton of details that I can really talk about publicly, but I can say that the short version is my wife works at a school, right? She is a secretary at an elementary school. I have worked in education off and on in various ways. I was an adjunct professor at a university. I worked for a nonprofit that provided middle school and high school courses online. I have done teacher recertification, professional development. So education, kids, etc., have always been something that my wife and I take pretty seriously. That's also why if you're looking for a more recent and applicable example, why when Logan and I were doing these scarf for scarf promos, it started with a, give us a proof of a donation of a something to the homeless shelter stuff. And then for myself, I said, or any children's organization, right? Because that's just something that we care about. So 5:30 on Friday, we received a call that two children, siblings, were in need of an emergency placement, and they at the time just didn't have anything. And after talking to some other folks just kind of in the space throughout the state over the weekend, it turns out Michigan's in the middle of a bit of like a foster child epidemic of sorts. Like a lot of places are just full. They don't have the volunteers to serve as foster parents. They don't have space and facilities. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So they didn't know if they would have good spots for them to go. All signs were pointing, even if they found something, they would have to be split up. These are not like family members. These are not even what I would describe as friends. They are just children that happen to attend the school that my wife works for. So she received a phone call just saying like, hey, this is 100% like shot in the dark. It's okay. To say no, blah, blah, blah. But like, we don't have anything. And the person who was calling my wife said, and I just thought of you because again, it's something that's important to us. And so Sophie looked at me and said, are you okay with it? And I said, I'm okay with whatever you're okay with because we're just not the kind of people that can turn folks away, especially stuff I can't talk about. Like on my side, I had my nieces, they were removed from my brother's care for a bit due to issues. I've had other family members run into similar stuff. I've seen the effects of it firsthand. I moved around a lot when I was a kid. Even spent some time hopeless. Freudian slip. That. Yeah, big Freudian slip. Homeless. Sleeping in the truck, showering at the Y. Or if it wasn't homeless, like living in homes that didn't have like power or water or whatever, right? So like I know what the adversity is like, and given that look, everything is tight right now. I'm not going to say that we're like living well off, but given that we at least have the means for a space for them, we said like we will, we're willing to take them. And at first, when the phone call came through, it was for the night. But then that escalated very quickly to, talking with a caseworker, signing a bunch of paperwork. On paper legally right now, we're like officially foster parents with like guardianship. We don't know what that kind of duration is going to be like. We're hoping that we can help find them a more, permanent place. Not that we don't want them around, but it's the sort of thing where my wife and I have talked in the past about fostering and adopting and doing those things. But when you have those discussions, it's always under the assumption that like you're going to have time, right? You're going to go through some of the classes and find out what it's like to go through, the system, and you're going to preemptively like make a space, right? Like a big part of scrambling was finding a space because, like legally there are certain requirements that have to be met. Like they have to have their own room, that sort of thing. And it's just, our house, we have an unfinished basement, but we have a bunch of stuff down there and we use it like another room. And there's actually a big queen size bed down there that, we have, but like it's so interesting, right? Like that, even though there's an egress window and there's all those things, it's not technically its own room. So that was not going to work for them. So what we had to do was actually transition start down there so that they could stay in his room. And he's been amazing with helping. And, we told him, hey, it's your choice if you don't want to like give up your room. And he said, no, not a problem at all. Like there was not even a hesitation. Monroe has also been great. They are a couple years younger than him. But he, even though he's like 9 years old, has basically just been like a little father hen chasing him around. So, we've had some friends and family try to help out with donating us stuff because they got dropped off like 11:30 Friday night, and it was bare minimum. It was like akin to if you've ever experienced like dropping kids off at grandparents for the weekend, where they show up at the door and you're like, okay, have fun. It was like that, but without again any of the pre-existing relationships of the grandparents, right? So they didn't have toothbrushes, they didn't have like any of that. So we have been spending the weekend sorting all of that out. There's like medical stuff, one of them came sick. Yeah, it's a thing. It's been a weekend.
Yeah, I get it.
So I didn't play Flesh and Blood. But
that is the longest explanation
for
why you haven't played a game of Flesh and Blood.
Well, it's just funny
on
because
this show ever.
It's funny. Like I know the running joke is that I never play. So there's
what joke? What joke?
First of all,
reality.
I don't play as often as I would like, but to say that I never play would be incorrect. So the good news is, once all of this settles down, Doa has finally figured out a way where we can move our recording nights to Tuesdays. So
perfect.
In the near future, I will be able to attend my armories again, and I am very, very excited. I just have to obviously work through all this stuff, and at the end of the day, like as much as I love my games, and obviously I love making the content and stuff, like if I can help the kids, I think at least for now that's what I can do. I did. So for the folks who are not privy to our private conversations, I did tell Logan that this is really just me committing to the bit, right? Like I said, hey, I care about kids. Ha ha ha, commit to the bit. So I don't know if you can commit
That
harder than yeah. Like I just when they were going through the paperwork and they were like, well, you're a foster parent now, and like they were, and so we had a bunch of questions, and they were basically along the lines of like, well, treat them like you would treat your kids, and then they just turned us loose. It's been eye-opening to say the least. So yeah.
So staying serious for just one more minute.
I know it's so hard.
It's not the easiest thing for me. This is illustrative of of why I love you as much as I do, because this is the reaction that I would expect a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, somebody that I would trust with, the things that we've talked about personally, and then the time we've spent together. This is the behavior I would expect of them, because it's the behavior I would want them to expect of me. And I couldn't be more proud of you for doing that. And, anything I can do to help, obviously reach out. Kind of hard when I'm in Iowa, but I'm more than happy to do anything I can. Is it time to not be serious?
I think we are there. Yeah.
Good fucking job making sure those kids were nowhere near Drake. Okay. Okay. Well, you had to bury him one time. Fucking yeah. He's already 20 feet deep. Kendrick made sure of that shit. Matt, I know that you and Anna did not have the best runs at RTNs this weekend. You wanna give us the TLDRs on any of that?
You can go first.
All right, I went out of 2 RTNs, 5 rounds, both of them. I went 1-9. Yeah,
coming in hot.
Especially Viserai's like the scary guy right now, like at least from the past RTN season, and just I always play my very casino style, and let's just say that's what if it was the Viserai casino, I did not win anything. That's what I definitely it just wasn't hitting. Matt?
Well, one RTN I didn't do too bad. The last Saturday, I made the top 8 and then lost to Kano because Arcane hurts.
I was like, Matt's it's fake, but it's fine.
It's and then yesterday, I went 0-5 with Syndra. Apparently, blues don't work.
No, blues are shit.
You can blame Chris.
Actually impressive.
Yeah. No, you can blame Chris. It was his deck, but Chris didn't do as bad. Or
sure.
Christopher, I forgot. You don't
Topher or whatever.
You don't identify
Hobbin, whatever Chris. You want to call him.
My first match was against Prism though, so
You're starting on a low note. That's for sure.
I faced my husband round 1, and
but that's every event.
Yes, I know. Gem. I like how someone on social media said it's till Gem do us part. It literally is how it works, and so it's just So he pulled the mass triggered and got the throw daggers, and then warmongers me off the throw daggers. When I knew I was going to be able to kill him next turn, and I just needed to survive, and he just happened to get the warmongers, and then was able to swing the tempo back, and there is now a Christopher shape imprint on our couch.
That's been there though. That's not new.
Oh no, it's been there.
Oh, it's been here years.
He's the fucking peanut gallery back there. But let's hop into RTN season 3. I saw some of the weirdest shit, or week 3, I should say. I saw some of the weirdest shit this weekend. So I played in an RTN of 42 people in Nebraska. That wasn't Omaha. And it was, guess who was the most represented hero in the room?
Was it my guy?
No.
Oh.
Riptide?
Nope.
Hold on. Let me think. Victor.
No, but you're closer.
Bravo?
Jarl Vitrady.
Jarl would have been my second guess.
Was the most represented hero in the room. Don't worry, none of them made the top 8.
I was going to say, that must have been a slow day.
It was a slog. So there were 5 Jarls in the room. In the first round, there were 2 Jarl mirrors.
How many ties were there?
1.
Actually impressive.
Yeah. So, but they both went to like last turn, or both those matches went to last turn swinging to get the job done. Right. Like it was that. The second most represented hero, I believe, was Viserai. There were quite a few running around. And then after that, I think it was Aurora, then Syndra. But the Kanos got shit on immediately. So my luck went up, except for I lost round 1 to a Viserai. I did not play my best game. Proceeded to kind of like walk around, kind of get out of my own head a little bit. Locked in, won 4 straight. So going into round 6, I'm locked for the 8th seed if I lose. Get paired into Prism. Lose horribly. Wind up with a against the only undefeated in the top 8 in the quarterfinals, which is a Viserai. Wind up winning that on the back of, did you know, it's Winds of Retribution or Wrath of Retribution, whatever the fuck it's called, can just be a 0 for 10? Because it can just be a 0 for 10. And my opponent had already committed to taking everything that turn. So they did. And was able to get him in flick range and make it so he could not find a turn to turn the corner on. Wound up winning that. Then played a Zen in the next round, which is again just a Jesus take the wheel, no blocking. Let's fucking do this. Went to 1, and I'm like, you are stone dead. You are the deadest human that's ever lived. He's like, yeah, I know. So get to the finals. It's me versus a Vincent, and the Vincent player was like, you know, hey, the only thing I really care about is getting living legend points for my girl. And I'm like, would you like to propose a split? And my opponent's like, sure. I'm like, everything to the winner but the gold foil the second? And he's like, yeah, done. Like, okay. And I just didn't block. So I have one of these. Yay! I played that Vincent before. They've been very close matches. He's actually an incredibly good pilot. And but I'm also told that this gold foil is probably cursed. I'm going to open it here shortly. But I've been told that this gold foil is cursed because the last 2 gold foils that have come from that LGS have both been Bone Vizier. So odds are this is Bone Vizier or worse. So, which is Code of Frost. Code of Frost is the only thing worse. Code of Frost. It's the only thing worse than Bone Vizier.
We're hoping for Saber, though, right?
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, Matt,
Matt, knock on wood right now.
I'm going to lose blood flow from my head if you keep talking like that. But yeah, Saber, Courage, Starfall, or the Mystery Majestic, the one we don't know, would be interesting. But yeah, the Saber is obviously the one that is, fucking getting cat ambushed.
I was going to say, now you got to open fast because you're blessed by cat.
I am blessed by cat. Okay, we're going to do this now before the taking shots then. Okay.
I have the blessing of beings here.
I got blessed by cat. I've never opened a gold foil before, by the way.
It's exciting.
I don't know about that.
I thought you opened one on our podcast when you got your first one ever.
No. That ended up going to second place as well in that event. I opened gem packs, or not gem packs, judge packs, and I've opened the fuck do you call them? The 5th anniversary packs on the show, but never a gold foil. So, okay. This is going to be fucking awful. All right. So I'm going to close my eyes and like bring it up to the camera so you guys can see it, maybe. Can you see it? Am I sad?
I can tell you that it's something that you have expressed a desire for in the past.
Another one.
Another one.
I own 3 of these now. Okay, well that's fine. But I now own 3 gold foil Vesta First Fists. That's really funny, actually. So Mara,
A place.
I got you covered, girl. But yeah, that's really funny. I'm just gonna keep this one like locked up like this though, and because it's the first one I ever won, so it's just gonna stay like this. But at least it wasn't Bone Vizier. That much is true.
It was not Bone Vizier. At least it wasn't creating a literal meme out of yourself. I realized that what I should do is create some meme where it's like things I will do to not play Fab, and it's like literally become a foster parent.
Okay. All right. So Anna, you're probably still like half trash right now. Because not just alcoholism, that's part of it, but Anna is an unrepentant Viserai fan. She loves her purple boy more than anything, including her husband, I think. And I'm just saying that things would get weird if you started dressing like Viserai. And
Look in her closet.
I don't plan on it.
Started?
Yeah, facts. So this morning they had a funeral service for Viserai at the Shreve home.
Bye Viserai brunch.
Yeah, a bye Viserai brunch. A wake for her boy. And Matt requested that I do shots on camera to commemorate the passing of one Viserai L. Sutcliffe, or whatever the fuck his name is. Which I honestly think that Viserai is Kasai's dad, but that's another story for another time. But if you think about it, everything that ends in I, Phi, Kasai, blah, 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 is all Volcor.
Yeah.
And Kasai's father was murdered, and Viserai has like a vengeance kink going on. So it would, and he swings a sword, like that's his thing. So it makes sense for that to just be the embalmed and and rune bladed boy out of Kasai's not quite dead father.
I was gonna say Kasai is like literally, it's like a I am your father, Kasai, I am your father moment. This is insane.
That's right. Okay, so I got my shot glass. So you guys got your drinks?
I already got the shots poured.
I was gonna say I'm gonna
Nice.
step over here for.
There it is, Chris with the image, Chris with the oh, Viz.
Yeah.
Rest in piss, you fuck. But cheers to the one and only purpley boy. Raise him up. Anna, why aren't you shooting? What are you doing? There it is. All right. Delicious. Were you shooting off-brand fireball or something? What the fuck?
No, just tequila.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Well, all right. The meme of me opening a vest of the First Fist is so fucking unreal. You know that, like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's Chris. When his first one was a gold foil Ember Blade, he was playing Fi at the time.
Yeah.
Cracked it and then literally stopped playing Fi. Like, it's in a sleeve right now in his deck that he hasn't touched since, and it's just so.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Do I own a percentage?
Excuse me. I will say I played one event, the 10K in Columbus. I did play with that gold foil Ember Blade.
Congratulations. One time. Proud
Right.
of you.
Well,
but yes, it is just.
I hope your imprint on your couch is warm.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's go into some topics, shall we? Unless you have something, Derek.
I do have something, but I need you to bear in mind that I am physically tone deaf in part due to a lot of head trauma as a child. So I apologize in advance, but my send off for Viserai is Bye, bye, my boy Viserai. You're a legend who is living 'cause LL points are high. And emo players are left high and dry, saying this will be the day that I cry. This will be the day that I cry.
There it is. There it is. Hot Topic representing. Oh my God.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to our main topic today, like we're fucking last week tonight. Let's talk about. I've seen a lot of discourse, especially in our Discord server. There has been a massive amount of discussion, and then I've also seen it on BlueSky and elsewhere as well, and even locally, about the cost of cards. So we're going to delve back into this conversation. We seem to come around to this like every year or so. And so I'm going to start with a couple of things. This is I didn't really come into this, talk about it last year, but this is the first time I'm going to say that Flesh and Blood is not on sale. For the first 2 years that I did this show, I would say all the time that Flesh and Blood is on sale. You should be buying now. Prices are low. Don't think, just buy in now. And if you listen to me, you're doing great. If you didn't listen to me, you are currently in absolute hell because prices are fucking traumatic.
You're in good company, though, because Ejur is there with you.
Ejur is right next to you. Signing a stack of cards and wishing they were his to play with. And so as an example, this past weekend, again, in Omaha, the store had one box of Outsiders sitting there. And so I looked at it and I'm like, how much is the box? And with my brain went, if it's sub 100, I'm just buying it, because the case prices right now were like $4.25 a case. So anything under 100 is just perfect. Buy the box, because it was 92. Buy the box. And I'm like thinking to myself, all I have to do for this box to pay for itself is crack a Codex of Frailty or a Flick Knives. That's it. End of list. And so I cracked this EA, or not this EA, but this Cold Foil Trench of Sunken Treasures. I cracked this Rainbow Foil Vambrace of Determination. And then I cracked this Codex of Frailty.
Yay.
Guess what? I did it. Now, here's the thing. Almost everybody will tell you cracking sealed product is fucking stupid. And they're right from an economic standpoint. They're wrong from a fun standpoint, goddammit. Because cracking boxes and cracking packs is fucking fun. I mean, if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't open the gold foils. But here's the thing. We're at that spot now where we're starting to almost hit that overlap where maybe you do buy sealed. Because, again, I see this box and it's it's $92. I pull one non-foil, not special whatsoever Majestic out of this box, and I made money. I could flip this Codex right now for the $100 I spent, $100, which is more than I spent on the box, and I get to keep the 2 legendaries, right? I could just do that. And that's silly when you come to think of it. So we're in this wild space with prices. I know that I think some of the cause is the game is expanding again for the 3rd time. Some of it is some gun shy printing. I would argue that Fab 2.0 up until, well, I mean, maybe not even up until that, but Fab 2.0 in general is underprinted. Which I'm pretty sure I said that forever ago too. But that underprinting, because it was printed for the existing player base. so that player base increases.
I think that they left in room for growth. Sorry, but like, you know, James and his team they're not dumb, right? I don't think that they printed it for the current player base. I think that they did plan for growth. It's just one of those things where I think this is just, there are times in your life where you're like happy to be wrong. And I think that this is one of those cases. I just think that they underestimated the amount of potential growth. But there is also, if I'm being honest, there's also like there is the potential that there's a bunch of unopened stuff still in circulation.
Sure.
Right? Because the early days of Fab, even it wasn't as much, but even when we started into the Fab 2.0, you still had a lot of people that were, you know, buying sealed and sitting on it. And I don't just mean like, you know, I mean people that were sitting on cases and cases, not just like one here or there for a rainy day. So it's also entirely possible that they planned on growth, but the stuff they planned on being opened hasn't not hit shelves.
That's possible, but I don't think so. Like with print run information that's out there, it feels like that you look at the numbers that go from Tales of Aria and Everfest, and then the precipitous drop after that.
Sure.
And how much is printed. And that makes it kind of difficult for people to a degree. Like, so example, like let's use Outsiders, right? Outsiders had 169,000 boxes is how many total boxes there are of Outsiders. That sounds like a good number, right? But then you can compare that to something like I'm not going to use Monarch because that's ludicrous. But even if you compare it to Arcane Rising, which has 195,000 displays, there's less Outsiders than there is Arc.
But Arcane was also printed during the like insane TCG boom.
Sure.
Like a lot of those numbers from the first, I would say 4 sets are also just going to be pretty inflated because of crazy things the market was doing that has nothing to do with your actual player base, right? So
yeah, okay.
I just like I said, I just think that they probably did plan for growth. It just probably was not as much. And I personally also think that there is likely a larger amount either unopened in circulation than people are giving credit for, or like, if I'm being honest, Outsiders is the perfect example, right? That was the first like real assassin set. So I bought a ton of it. I can tell you right now, I know for a fact, I might have more, but I know for a fact I have at least 2 extra Codexes of Frailty just in my office here somewhere. And they're out there, but they're not in circulation because I'm lazy. You know what I mean? So
can't argue with that.
Right. So if you're saying there's like 100 and whatever thousand boxes and there's not even a codex in every one of those boxes, right? So then you have a smaller number of codexes in circulation because it's a Majestic, and then I'm sitting on 2 of them. Like, all I'm saying is I'm an asshole. All right. And I should be a better person.
No, I think you should send them to you.
The player base is experiencing high prices because I have 2 extra codexes that I just won't list on TCG Player because I'm lazy.
Clearly you're the problem.
I know.
Yeah. It's like when I, for a little bit, owned 11 copies of Warmonger's Diplomacy. Like, that was on me. Don't look at me with that tone of voice. It was actually purely accidental.
See, here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. I think in that case, you're doing a public service, because I don't think that card is nearly as good as the price tag says it is. And you're helping players out by making them play cards they wouldn't otherwise that are probably better.
See, I'm the good guy.
Yeah.
I always knew it. I always knew that I was the good guy.
Yeah, 100%.
I always knew it. Now I'm just, you know what? That makes me, thanks for listening this week. I should end it there. I'm not going to, but I should. I'm going to throw this to Matt in about, because what are you guys experiencing? I know that Charleston has, in West Virginia in general, you guys have a very good LGS that treats their players really well. I've played there. They serve booze. What more do you want? And which also is probably somewhat of a contributing factor to Anna's tournament performances. But what are you guys seeing there?
Most of us buy sealed.
Yeah, we're pack degenerate goblins, and like we love opening product, especially.
How many L's did you pull at Armory last week?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. I did pull 3 legendaries at Armory last week, and
how? What?
I had 2 Rosetta packs from Prize Packs and pulled the EA Arcanite Fortress, which is only worth like $50.
What else?
And then what was the other legendary? My like 5th of the Aether glove. That's also like $5.
Oh, the wizard one.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they weren't great. And then I was looking for a Runic Reckoning for my deck. And so I bought 5 Dust Till Dawn. I pulled the Crown of Poverty, the non-foil Providence.
Thank you for calling it by its proper name.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I was almost jumped in the parking lot by our locals. But no, if anything, we've noticed, like, the thing is, like, we still have, like, Aria on our shelves. But any of the new sets, we just haven't been able to keep. I mean, we haven't had like, Arcane Crew, all that. We still have Monarch. We still have Aria. But everything else, the only thing is because we have players at our stores that are also very, like, hero-centric. And being, like, the only Runeblade player, I play Emperor and Blitz, and so I'm also the only Wizard player. And
Who hurt you?
I know, that's what
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we won't go into that. I pay a therapist for that. So, but no, like, so Rosetta, like, I think Chris and I were the only ones who bought, like, 2 cases of it. And if anything, like, our LGS owner was actually afraid to get hunted because of how badly it sold at our LGS. Whereas hunted, we're pretty much already out. Like,
everywhere is.
Yeah, it's just, we can't, like, whenever we see it, we bought it. Like, when I did really bad at last week's RTN, I bought, like, 8 pity packs that they had, like, out of sadness for myself. I pulled the blood spattered vest, sold it on the spot, and made money. It was great.
Right. Yep.
So, but we're also noticing, like, we've already have 3 people that have reached out to us this week about coming to Armories. We haven't had a new person in months.
It's been a year.
Like, to have it's been about a year since we had one solid new player come in, and we've had 3 people, like, reach out about coming to Armory this week. So it's just, but the issue is, like, now there's no sealed product for them to, like, they have to rely on us in our bulk, which, I mean, we gladly
have it. Yeah, sure.
But the fact that they can't just go and buy the packs for heroes that they want is kind of, they have to rely on what's already there, which luckily, they have very generous people to help them out. But
also, what I think helps our, like, local areas that I bought probably a total of 3 cases, and then any extra M's or legendaries, we just sell them or trade them to other people in local for a lot cheaper price than what they are on TCG.
Yeah.
To help them get started.
Yeah, but it is just kind of crazy. But I also think a big thing is also where they're not doing the supplemental sets anymore too. Like, the fact that we're already talking about high seas and, like, the meta shifts that's potentially going to bring, like, when we were at the hunted pre-release, or, like, not pre-releases, but at least just, like, the first hunted limited events, and I was just like, my head was already spinning because I was like, are we already getting new stuff? And I think that's also part of it, is where we're not doing supplemental sets though anymore. That we're going very quickly through these meta shifts, and so.
What was the flavor, Darick, of High C that you were most intrigued by? Was it Strawberry Blast?
Well, I had said that the Ecto Cooler is very clearly,
that's the gold standard. No one argues that point. That is the best High C you will ever find.
I posted about it.
You did.
I have not posted a lot recently because I've been a bit busy. So I imagine it was Boppin' Strawberry.
Boppin' Strawberry is on the list for best high seas. So this is the high seas meta that we talk about.
Yeah.
Because we don't fucking know anything. You're better off talking about fucking juice boxes than you are about cards that you have zero clue what they are. So we're here for juice box meta. And obviously, I mean, y'all are youngins. I get it. But if you've never enjoyed an ecto cooler in your life, I am sorry for you.
Yeah.
I have severe, my heart aches for you.
I didn't know there was different flavors of high C.
That's
I thought
what
it
I
was
was
fucking God.
Let me tell you.
What?
High C out of the juice box, and it's on a hot summer day, but you're getting out of a Coleman cooler that's like just packed with party store ice.
You did pass the Capri Sun because those are
always
trash.
on top and horrible. You're
so
going to
you
have to
did
drink on the sidewalk.
And you grab that goddamn high C juice box and you feel power rush through you. And if it happens to be an ecto cooler, your day cannot get better. You are at the peak you will ever be on that day.
I'm convinced that the stuff in the ecto cooler is what made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it was just the ooze, because I've never felt more powerful than when I was hopped up on ecto cooler.
Yeah, cocaine ain't got shit on ecto cooler. And I mean, there's a brewery in Des Moines that makes a sour that is based on ecto cooler called Ecto Coolest. And when they get it right, it is just akin to God. It's a beautiful thing. But
so ecto cooler, just so you know, it was an important thing. It was a limited edition run when it first ran. Now they ended up bringing it back
a couple of times. They brought it back a couple of times.
They ran it originally because of a Ghostbusters tie-in.
Yes.
That's why it was the ecto cooler, because it's after
ectoplasm.
Yeah. Well, and
okay, Matt is showing me we have stage notes now. That's green. That's
fuck yes, it's green. What other goddamn color do you think it'd be? Nah, this is peak. There's nothing better than ecto cooler. You could present me with an ecto cooler from 1985.
I would drink it without question.
Without question, I would pound that shit.
Because no worst case scenario, I end up in the ER and it's worth it anyway.
It's totally worth it. Actually, now I got to check if ecto cooler was in the first one or the second one.
It was discontinued in 2001. So,
well, I mean, it's been discontinued a couple of times.
So I was 7 when it was discontinued.
We were both 7.
Yeah, we were 7.
1987.
She just said she was 7 when it was
discontinued. Correct.
Yeah, we were both born in 94. So was Chris.
Yeah.
So for 7 years, ecto cooler existed before you were even born.
Yes.
Before your mother's front pooped out a fuck trophy, ecto cooler had been around for 7 years.
I guess I was a Juicy Juice kid.
That's better than, it's better than Capri Sun.
That is fair.
Capri
I always did
I
did the Kool-Aid Jammers. That was my pouch drink choice.
A Kool-Aid Jammer is fine. It's a little syrupy, but whatever. Worse things have happened. Now.
So anyway, about the meta, some change things like the hunted, and others change it like bright lights, and so you need to plan accordingly for either scenario.
Kind of forget bright light. We do have bright lights as well still.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But however, bright lights is also way more expensive than you think per box right now.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, crack shuffle play I think is like a peak format. Like, I love crack shuffle play. Like, being able to just get 3 packs and shove them together. Like,
so
obsessed.
We're going to do a thing here because of new players largely, and then card availability and stuff like that. We're going to have an Armory night that's Oops All Iras. So everybody gets an Ira welcome deck. That's it. You are playing the Ira welcome deck for however many rounds it is. And that's it. Now, I'm a bougie bitch And so I'm going to bring one of the original 2019 Ira decks to play with. So I have the comic art head jabs, but it's going to be fun as hell when we do it because you don't have to worry about it. Like, you don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have the cards. Here are the cards. We did it. Show up and there's level playing field. Everybody's got the same deck. Let's go. And that should be fun. Also, the Edge of Autumn in the 2019 Ira deck is the gold border frame. It's not actually foil, but it's the gold foil frame because they fucked up on the printing. So I have a non-gold foil gold Edge of Autumn. It's funny. So I mean, you guys touched on this a second ago too, but it is almost impossible to find the Hunted on shelves. And I know that a lot of it is distribution issues and supply side things that LSS has fixed for the go forward. I mean, they've said they have, and again, our position here has always been big trust. We want to trust in that, but it's also frustrating for players right now because I am trying to prepare for a pro tour. I need to draft the Hunted.
Mm-hmm.
I can't draft the Hunted. And I'm not the only one. Now, there are people with sponsorships with teams and stuff like that that are drafting it willy-nilly right now because their sponsors have the product and they can do that. But the lack of availability right now is actually very hard on people that are not in those loops, right? So how do you think that, well, one, we know that more Hunted is coming. Do you think that when more Hunted supply shows up that we'll see another dip in Hunted prices, or are these just the prices? Not everybody at once.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like it's honestly just there's been a resurgence in just excitement for the game, and so I mean, I think people, because I mean, like I still don't have all my shelters. Like people
I have
are still.
4.
We might have to talk. No, but that's that I think that it's gonna stay up because I think, as far as I can tell, I was like, there's still such a need for the product, and it's just because this is like what Flesh and Blood, like I just feel a new excitement for the game myself, and I think that like a lot of people are still looking for those cards because they're wanting to get into it, they're wanting to chase that high as well. So that's what I think.
It was just such a good set. I think it will dip a little bit, but not too much. Like, I think shelters will dip down to probably 50 or 60 once we get more. You don't think so?
No.
No, I think price
Too
memory
good.
is going to be about 80.
I think 80 is what Shelter is.
Shelter is the new CNC, in my opinion.
Yeah. It is. There's
Yeah,
no
I
such
hope I'm
thing as a
wrong.
deck. Yeah, me same, but there's no such thing as a deck that can't play it. There's virtually no such thing as a deck that doesn't want to play it. No, every deck literally can play it. There's no deck that is banned, that is in any way, shape, or form prevented from playing Shelter the Storm in any format that's not Commoner.
I would say any deck piloted by Brody Spurlock until the Pro Tour.
Brody's not allowed to pilot decks, so no.
I'm just saying. Can't play it in that deck.
Because there's no deck.
Play. Yeah.
Yeah. The fuck, Charmer? Like, why do you do
Can you
this?
play? Can you play a deck that doesn't exist? I feel
No,
like this is
that's
like
the
becoming.
point!
This is like an existential like egg before chicken question.
I can
just
play decks
don't-
before they exist because people reveal things on Talishar and then it gets coded and I can jam it before it exists.
No, then it already. You know what? I'm not having this conversation.
I know you want to though. I'm laying the trap. I know.
I'm not walking into it. But no, I think the problem with Shelter specifically is that it is another slotted generic in a field of of improvement, that this is like the first one of those 0 for 4 D reacts that aggro decks go, yeah, I think so, actually. Because it really felt bad in a lot of those true aggro decks to play like Sync Belows and shit like that, because it just felt But here you have utility. And the utility is what's driving this card. Plus, you have those decks that played Sync and Fate that were also, your Guardian decks that like to block, which is a mistake, but that are going, if we just had another 0 for 4 D react instead of having to play X, Y, or Z bullshit thing that we're only ever blocking for 3 with anyway, we'd be better off. And here we are. So we're in a spot, especially when we know Guardian is also, we're going to hit the summer of Guardian here soon. And we're just going to see a higher demand for these things. I think 80 is legit the price memory. And it's the new CNC / warmongers / whatever. And you just have to buckle in, take your medicine, and pay the piper on these, because I don't think there's an alternative. That's my 2 cents.
I mean, like our Caleb, like our local at our LGS, that's what plays new. Literally, she can't even find the hunters,
Hunter Slaves.
Yeah, she literally can't find them.
Yep.
4. Okay, well, Matt pulled 4. He's the one that's sitting on them and isn't sharing the loot. But but yeah, just still, like, it's like people who want the product can't even find it now, like, let alone new players who are coming into this game because they're hearing the hype from it right now.
Yeah,
because can't find the product to build decks unless they're wanting to pay like astronomical prices. And
yep. And on average right now, year of our Lord 2025, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the average, we're selling 7 copies per day of Shelter of the Storm on TCG Player at $80. Like, that's just real life. So they're still selling. They're still moving at that number. There's no reason for people to lowball and send the price down. There are currently 45 listings. Lowest listing is $78.50 plus $1.27 shipping. It's $80. You take your medicine. That's all there is to it. And you could have been a person that pre-ordered them and tried to slam them at 30 or whatever, which would have been smart. Problem is, if you had the inkling, if you had the thought that I'm going to slam these at $30, a lot of those listings got gobbled up too fast, or they got canceled.
Yeah.
Because it's capitalism. There's no such thing as scruples. Are you fucking kidding me? So a lot of those orders just didn't go fulfilled. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I think that's just where we're at with that card. And that's not, I think we're going to keep seeing that is the problem. And somebody posted a chart. I want to say it was a few days ago on BlueSky that showed the top 10 most expensive decks in TCGs. 4 of the top 5 were Fab decks. And there's some disingenuousness in that, because once you have certain cards, you don't need to buy them again. Mostly equipment and then generics. But if you're just buying in, you have to buy them. And so the top most expensive deck, I believe, was new. It was either new or Arachne. The second most expensive deck was Magic, was Team or Breach. The third most expensive deck was Syndra. And just down the line. And it's like, holy shit. So when you stop and think about Syndra, you have to remember there are 3 Shelters from the Storm. There are Dragon Scale Jordans. There is Blood Splattered Vest. There is Mask of Momentum. There is the hands Flick Knives. Yeah. And none of those are cheap. Oath of Loyalties, not cheap. That deck adds up really fast. Like if I go look at my copy of it right now, it is, let me look. $1,110 for the cheapest versions of any card to buy all the cards of that deck.
Or you can be like Christopher, who I randomly got mail one day, and there was the cold foil promo and Marvel Fealty in the mail. He was like, "Oh, how'd those get there?" And I was like,
right, and that's just more pimping. My ancestral empowerments are pink; they're alphas. My oath of loyalties are EAs. I mismatch my shelters of the storm because I'm an asshole, and so there's one EA, one rainbow foil, one regular. My Oasis respites are promo ones. My Warmongers are foils. Like my version of this deck is way more expensive than $1,110. Oh yeah, sorry. I also have a Japanese Marvel Syndra. So my copy is probably pushing $2,000 because it ain't the cheapest copy of any of this shit. My Flick Knives is cold foil. My Dragon Scalers are cold foil. My Vesta's cold foil. I need a cold foil a mask still, but beggars can't be choosers. But that's where we're at right now. Is we're at a spot where Flesh and Blood, on paper, for the first time, really is the most expensive TCG to play. And the next question is, what's the fix? What can LSS do?
Again, as the crack packing degenerate, I mean, I love the history pack still. Like even though it got to the point where, I mean, for me, like history packs is just as expensive as, the rest of them, but at least like giving access to those somewhat cheaper borders. Like, I mean, the Command and Conquers, even though they're still like 85 for a white border.
They're disgusting looking though, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I do it to throw people off. It's part of the allure. But I was like, still just getting those reprints of the versions, because the thing is, the collectors are still going to go for the shiny versions. The people who want the Welcome to Wraith or the Krunix are still going to get the Welcome to Wraith and the Krunix. But it's like, but at least giving those opportunities to have a way for people to get the card, like a card that at least does the function. They just need it to play in tournaments because they can't proxy. That's what, at least having just like opportunities to get those, because again, like people are still going to buy the expensive stuff. It's just giving people the option to get the cheaper things. It would be good.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the reprints, but I would say just include more of them in expansion slots, but that really hasn't helped a whole lot. So I guess, yeah, just history packs.
I'm interested to see how the Guardian Master Box, like how that might they're gonna structure that. Like, is it gonna kind of have some of those like key reprints or like equipment possibilities in there and
Tectonics again?
Yep. I know that Aladoris in our Discord, Jordan. So he's brought up a number of times. I think I actually agree with him for like the second time in history, because normally it's like, fuck off, Jordan. But in this case, I think I'm with him when he talked about they need to print Archive Pack in English for distribution.
Yeah.
And not just in Japanese. Because you are in a spot in my mind now where you do need a catch-up product again that's available worldwide. And I think the Archive Packs are a great solution both for LGSs and for players, because they're a smaller footprint. They don't take up as much space. They have, callbacks to previous sets. You can open CNCs, you can open Enlightened Strikes, you can open, sadly, Art of Wars, you can open legendaries that are not foil. They kind of have that whole thing going for them, where for people that can't afford necessarily to throw the money down, at least they can afford the lotto tickets. And that might be better in a short-term vacuum, especially if the commons and uncommons are the commons and rares are more of the chase stuff you need as staples for decks. And normally in Archive Packs, they are. So I feel like that's probably a good thing that could be done as well. Darick, you've waited patiently.
Yeah, I think that is one potential solution. I keep bouncing around like what I think would be a really fun idea. The problem is that like I don't know how you would balance it, and it feels like a monster, and both in terms of balance as well as pricing the product. But one of the things that I really like is I like Shapeshifter Draft, and I liked when they did, MinMax did that history of draft thing, and I like the idea of having a bunch of stuff from different things, but still meant to be played in a limited format. And there is a part of me that wonders if it would be really cool to kind of do almost like a Fab All-Stars product that's meant to be still either drafted or crack shuffle played, but did also have some of the staples within, so that you're both getting new players invested by still making it accessible from either a limited or a crack shuffle play, but also, potentially having some of those reprints. Now, the problem is I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it's something like History Pack, but just with like a slightly more limited focus. My biggest issue when I think about it, though, is that we know that, let's be honest, a lot of us, and I'm guilty of this as well, where it's easy to forget that LSS is the size that it is, right? They're putting out a product that is competing with corporations much larger than themselves. And they're in part doing that because they have some incredibly talented people on their staff. They definitely have passionate people on their staff. And that has allowed them to squeeze more value out of, their output. But when I think of a cool product where I'm like, yeah, I would really enjoy that, you would have to have somebody who would have to curate the list. Then you would have to have likely some sort of like internal testing for the balance stuff. And even if you're not doing it for competitive stuff, even if you say, hey, this is never going to be, drafted for an ELO rated event, if the intent is to still make it accessible for new players, you still want to do at least enough testing to find out that it's accessible and fun and enjoyable for new players. So it's just one of those things where, like, do you even want to dedicate resources to that, or you just want to continue to make the next iteration, the next set, the next whatever, the best it can be over and over and over again, which does seem to be the path they've been taking. And it's, as much as we can sit here and complain, the reality is it's also hard to argue with the results, because part of the reason prices are so high is because we've got more people playing the game than pretty much ever. And it's in a really great spot. And so obviously they're doing a bunch of stuff that works, right? They're almost like victims of their own success at this point. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I was being quiet mostly because I just didn't have a good way to like land on an actual solution. I just know that, like, selfishly, I love those draft formats. And so I do think that something like a Fab All-Stars thing would be fun. But then when
almost like a cube, but draft, but like,
yeah,
but
kind
not.
of. But then, when my less fun, more adult brain kicks in and I start like project managing it, I'm like, yeah, the logistics on this are kind of a nightmare. And then when I consider, size and personnel and whatever, I don't know. But
no, I get it. I guess the last thing in this topic really is what's the advice for newer players? Like, what do you tell them when they're like, I want to play Flesh and Blood, but it's too expensive?
Just play anyway. No.
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
Hear me out though, right? I think that people very often, in life, it's probably even way worse in card game circles, and even probably more so exacerbated because Flesh and Blood is meant to be a competitive game. But ultimately, people want to go 0 to 60 right out of the gate. They don't just want to, hey, I want to play the game. They want to play the game and be really good at it and compete day one. And my advice to new players would be, don't let that be your goal. That can be like a stretch goal or a long-term thing, but you could have all of the cards and you're still going to struggle for your first month. Yeah,
because the game's fucking hard.
The game is hard. The players who have been playing it for a while and who are good at the game are just good at the game. It's like all things. I would say just get the reps in, and I would just look, if you really want to play the game, I would just look for relatively cost inefficient ways to play the game. It's okay to play some blitz decks against each other. I still do it with my son here at home, and it's fine. It's okay to play in a commoner format, right? They run commoners at almost every big like calling Nats, whatever I go to. It's side events, but you can still show up.
One thing,
have a good time.
Cutthroat, or the Commoner, is the most sweaty cutthroat fucking format of Flesh and Blood, and it's not close.
Sure, but if the desire is I want to play Flesh and Blood, but the price is scaring me, Commoner is an option. And
no, you'll get your dopamine hit from the Cutthroat. Like you'll get your competitive.
You will get the full Fab experience in those events.
Those pummels are not discarding a card unless you fucking say so.
So to me, like, I know it sounds dumb, but like that's my advice. If you want to play, then just play. You don't have to have all of the cards and be the best and do all of the things day one. Just play.
Pokemon did not teach you that. You got to be the very best.
Yeah, but it also took Ash. It took Ash decades to actually win a championship.
Because he sucks. You can be better than that. He's fucking awful.
I'm just saying, not everyone walks the same path.
He would be in Team Rocket's Gitmo if he didn't have a smart electric mouse that walked around with him everywhere.
Okay, but also he was still better than Team Rocket most of the time too, though. They weren't exactly out there slinging W's either.
No, because it's that show is about Pikachu and about him looking at this dipshit human and being like, I guess I gotta save his ass again because otherwise another human will probably put me in one of those stupid fucking balls. And who wants to live in testicles? Like, we spend our entire existence as swimming sperm to escape the testicles and enter life. We engage in a race.
Okay, counterpoint though, I didn't ask to be alive.
I knew that was coming. I shouldn't. Well, coming. I was talking about sperm. I guess we're doing it all. I definitely should have not walked into that, and I did. So I'd like to apologize to Anna and Matt. I will do better, and I will do my best to prevent Charmer from having easy layups ever again. But okay. Let's move on. We had some quick hitters here. First one is we know the next Pro Tour is in Singapore, which is only a $1,500 flight from Des Moines round trip in like 23 and a half hours. Probably not making that one. I will say this. If I randomly do really well in London, maybe. But yeah, that's in July 17th through 20th. Classic constructed with high seas, hopefully the good ones. Pro Quest season is kind of right around the corner already. It's April 19th through May 18th, so that month is not that far away. It's basically the weekend after Pro Tour London, Pro Quest season starts, which is nuts to me. But I don't even get back in the States until the 18th, and I won't be a person until the 20th. And then it's 420, and but the Pro Quest season, so there's Jarl playmats to the top 2. The top 4 get Rainbow Foil Valda Seismic Impact. So we knew this character already. We knew this name already from the Guardian Mastery box that we saw at the last Pro Tour. It was in one of those display cases and people took pictures of it, yada, yada, yada. But this is literally just Valda as an adult. So,
without the extra health.
Without the extra health. The only difference is they put her as 40 instead of 42, which I get it. But otherwise, it's still Seismic Surge Valda. The top 8 get a rainbow foiled Battered to a Pulp, which is a new Guardian attack with a crush effect of destroy equipment with no defense value, which is kind of busted. Crushing that one is going to eat something, and whether that's a dragon, a Snapdragon Scalers, or a random other thing where like you block with your Jordans and then they just like, okay, blow them up. Whatever. That's a pretty good effect. And especially with like in a Jarl build where they have the ability to put -1 counters on your equipment pretty easily, that could be pretty brutal. Then the participation promos are Draw Crowd, which is a Guardian Blue Block 3, and Promising Terrain, which is a Guardian Blue Block 3. Right. Any thoughts on those? I mean, that's like so far down the line, it feels like, and also weird because we get these for ProQuest seasons, but they're not CC legal until June. Which feels weird to me.
So here's my hot take.
Oh, God damn it.
I think that if you are interested in playing Volda, you should pick up your stuff now, especially if you're thinking about playing her in Blitz.
Earthlore Bounty. Pick up
Because
Earthlore Bounties.
if the adult version of Volda is somehow going to get enough juice from the new set to be playable and still only have 40, when before the extra health was like a bonus in Blitz, then that means that same power level is probably there for Blitz, but she has the extra health. So
Earthlore Bounties are $5.
Yeah.
Buy Earthlore Bounties. There's my...
I mean, or don't. I'm not your dad. I mean, like,
your
2
4
more
kids
is
dads,
dead. Yeah, but
you're not... If those kids listen to this show...
Oh, no, I would never do that to them.
Thank God. Well, they might have... You don't know. You just got them.
I only torment my own children.
Did you stare into those children's eyes and go, do you know who I am? Just to find out. Because they say no, you know they're not lying to you because no one knows who you are.
And then I say, I'm Batman.
If you can sell it, you can sell it.
Fair.
Right. Okay. West Virginia, do you have anything you want to talk about when it comes to Volda? Anna, are you going to cosplay Volda?
That's what I'm like. Part of me is like, I have the hair. I go to the gym 5 days a week. Like, I've been working on the muscles.
You're strong?
Yes, that's what. So that's what, if I do step into the Fab cosplay world, I definitely think it will be with Volda, just because I don't have to go that far for like the effect. But I need to learn how to, use the foam stuff, and I need to learn. I need to actually use my sewing machine that I got 3 years ago. But
so here's the question. Yeah. Is it still in the box?
It is not. And my neighbor is the 75-year-old retired woman who's actually a former like national sewing champion who calls me like weekly to be like, do you want to learn to sew today? And I'm
you are going to make her day.
You are rolled up for this. Like you are rolled up.
So I am, the stage has been set. It's just a matter of me taking the first step.
Huh. Well, fuck. Well, why don't I ever get that? Never mind. It's fine.
You do. You're going to cosplay as the 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
I need to gain about 4 feet, but I am already bulletproof. If you want to ever test that theory, we can try it out. Because if you murder me, the insurance still pays. Next thing was
does it though?
It does.
Do you think Brian Thompson's insurance paid? He spent his entire career trying to deny other people's insurance. You think they paid out his, or did they say like, you know what, he would have wanted it this way? Let's.
Okay, so somehow we wrapped all the way back to CEO Birder, which we hadn't discussed in 2 months, it feels like. Good callback. I'm proud of you. We also know what our next armory deck is. Not the Aurora one that we still haven't got yet, but we get Max. We get Max Nitro?
I am excited for the 2 people that are very excited for this.
You think there are 2?
Jacob and Ben. There is 100% 2.
Okay, well, Jacob, I think, is still learning to become a firefighter. And sure,
no. I meant the
Bertrand.
Other Jacob. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know if he's excited. I'm gonna have to text him, find out.
He's excited because now he can
He can
Bring
full
two
play the
different-
cosplay.
You
Yeah.
can bring 2 different wrenches and then just go whichever one is making him feel froggy that day.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That's all I got to say. We get a new weapon called Bank Breaker. So we're still cranking and banking. It's a Banksy that attacks for 3, that can attack twice. You can only attack with it if you've cranked. So you're still cranking and banking, same as you have been, straight to the sperm bank. But it hits a little harder. So he's kind of a grower, not a shower anymore. Like he's actually got some girth to him. It's nice. Now he's a 2-pump Trump instead of just what he was before, which was kind of womp, 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 womp.
To quote Ron Killings, I don't even know if that's PG.
As an aside, this is an R-Truth appreciation podcast because oh my
Listen,
God,
let me tell you what I want. First of all, I was really excited to try to take Stark to the Elimination Chamber, and obviously there's just like no way I can afford that after everything that
4
just
kids,
happened. Yeah. But what I want as compensation for this year, I need John Cena to show up on TNA and have his match with Joe Hendry, because Joe Hendry keeps doing the call outs. He's trying to manifest it. But when that happens, because he's been his biggest fan since he was a little boy, I need R-Truth on that show with Santino, because there is nothing more that I want in my life than a Santino and R-Truth just like segment. Give them the whole show as far as I'm concerned.
Sure, sounds fine.
It'll just be those 2, and then we'll have Hendry Cena at the end and call it good. That's what I need. Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna add Joe Hendry and see if he can join the podcast now, because we said his name. At Joe Hendry.
I wish I was making this up, dude. Stark pulled out his phone at basketball this past weekend, right? He had his game on Saturday, and they're in this like little hallway waiting for the previous game to finish up before their team can go out and start their practice pregame. And I'm hearing from the hallway that he's blaring the Joe Hendry song as like their hype music before they go out.
Okay. I'm typing at Joe Hendry right now. We'll see if he responds. Okay. Because if you say his name, he will appear.
I believe.
If you believe in Joe Hendry, he will appear. Okay. So we also get Clamp Press, which is a blue pitch mech item. Costs 2. It has crank, because that's all he does is crank. Just fucking hammer on it.
Now he also clamps. Clamp him.
Clamp him.
Give him the clamps.
Wrenches you control get +2.
Attack.
Great.
A wrench is not a gun.
A wrench is not a gun. But if you can wrench for 5, twice in a turn, it's pretty good use of like 4 pitch. I mean, it's not bad. So here's the thing, though, is like none of these are Banksy coded. So Dio can just play them and can just play the items off the top to keep cranking to enable this bitch to be able to cack for 10, like on a kind of a regular basis, and have Cerebellum to dig and all kinds of other shit. Like, this seems like we are sorry that we had to ban High Octane here.
Here's more action points.
We would like to give you some crank. Wow, that came out wrong. Well, okay, well, that's what it is now. We're offering crank to Dash.io.
Ben, I know you're listening. Ben, I need you to get like Mara to do a custom altar of Max, but instead make him look like Jason Statham from the movie Crank. Actually, Crank 2, specifically
Crank 2.
with like the jumper cables on the nipples.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I don't need this in my life.
You signed up for this.
I kind of do, actually. So we need Jason Statham from Crank 2 With
Electric Boogaloo.
with Clank from Ratchet and Clank, doing the nipples, doing the
Yeah,
doing the
a little
shocking.
crank and clank. Like,
Little
honestly,
Crank and Clank.
I feel really bad for any commentator, somebody who's had to do his own commentary and say some things that are difficult to say. Having to say bank breaker with the word crank nearby as well, like, it's just asking for somebody to have some sort of slip up. When I covered Legends of Runeterra, there was an archetype in that game that was called Deep. Like, Deep was a keyword. It was for sea monsters and things like that. And so they just called that deck archetype Deep. And I remember once during like a pre-match thing where
Nothing could go wrong.
Talking about the matchups, I said Deep Deck, but with a New Zealandish accent, if you will, and it came off as Deep Deck.
You're like, they're really finding the pelvic floor with this deep deck. Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
I had a lot of people message me. Did you say what I think you said? No. I promise it wasn't intentional.
There's some cervix breaking going on with this deep deck. Is that what you said?
No.
No? Man,
No.
really rearrange their guts with that deep decking. Did you say that?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
Missed opportunities abound.
I know.
I mean,
Believe it or not, when I'm like on broadcast, I'm actually professional, Logan. I know that's hard for you to understand.
I know I've been on broadcast with you before. Like, I get it. And
yeah, but I just assumed that you blacked out during those experiences.
No, it's not on my list of things I blacked out during. That is a long list, but that one is not on it.
All right, fair.
We had one listener question that I've had pinned. I don't feel like doing it.
That's a really long one.
It's a lot to read,
Yeah,
and I'm cool not doing it for this one.
No, we got it. All right, so it's a question from Rogue Noob, and the question says, "I'm not reading all that. I'm sorry that happened, or happy for you, whichever."
Perfect. No notes. We'll eventually address it at some point, but I'm just not into it right now. You know what I am into? Patrons. I'm into patrons, like Matt. Thank you.
We can fix that afterwards.
Anna does buy me drinks whenever we're at events on occasion, so that qualifies as being a patron.
I'm pretty sure with all the weird like emo Runeblade shenanigans, if Anna is actually our patron, that makes us warlocks officially, right?
That would officially make us warlocks, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
That means if we eat the fat from an unbaptized child, we gain the ability of flight. It's in the movie Warlock. Look it up.
Yeah. I preferred what was it, Warlock Armageddon, where he like makes the map from the dude's scalp.
He makes the map from the dude's scalp. Yeah. That one's gas.
Bad that I know this.
I feel so out of the loop with these movies. I've never seen Crank.
Well, it's because you didn't drink Ecto Coolers and watch Crank, okay?
Crank.
I've never seen Crank. I'm like really bad about keeping up with that stuff. All right, well, we can talk about that later. Patrons, man. Patrons.
Let's thank our patrons, our associate producers. We have Aladoris, Andy, Sindra, Jacob, the Salty Seeker, and Zaris. For our executive producers on up, we have Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon, Brandon, Diana. All right, kids, give it to me as hard as you can.
No.
Y'all know the bit.
I know the bit. I'm one.
Then do the bit.
All right, do the bit, Matt. You're the one that's
loud and proud. Loud and proud.
This is all you. You're the one that's hosting.
This is all you. You paid for this.
Yeah,
I did pay for this. Now I'm in the spot. Lance Good Thrust.
There we go. We got a good thrusting. That's a Lance Good Thrust. Charmer, you want to add yours in? Because I know you love to do it.
No, I don't want to take away from the patron's moment of glory here.
That's
okay?
right. Larry, Micaiah, Poxanus, Sergeant Isbjorn, Vintox, Stoop Kid, Philip, Rich, Sonny, the aforementioned Matt. Thank you again. And the Jackal, who very soon will have his show too.
How many more weeks for him?
Next It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the Jackal, right? So it's half now on completion.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Have you seen the Jackal?
So you see,
Yeah, seen the Jackal.
I don't know what's in the chat.
God damn it!
I knew it. That's why I made the joke. I knew it. At this point, it was just a slam dunk.
Have you seen fucking Die Hard at least? Okay.
I know of Die Hard.
If you have to think about it, the answer is no.
The answer is no. The world's greatest Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish, man.
I get it. I get it. But at the same time, have you seen Gremlins?
I know that they can't get wet.
And
Right?
what else?
Okay, well that was interest. Oh, okay. Don't know what to do with that. You should not get them moist. Have you ever seen Scrooged? Violent Night?
Oh man, Violent Night.
Violent Night is gas. Do you have like a dad bod fetish with David Harbour?
I mean, I've watched Stranger Things. I'm a big fan.
Think of David Harbour with Santa Claus, but Santa
Okay.
Claus is a Viking raider who turned good, and is now is trying to save a little girl from a Home Alone situation. That's also a Die Hard. This movie is gas.
The movie is gas.
That's why. Can you start making a list of movies that I need to watch while I drink my ectoplasm high C?
Ecto Cooler.
Ecto. I had a lot of mimosas today.
We're killing Anna. All right. Well, I guess that's our show for this week. If you need to reach us, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on BlueSky at FleshPod. Just search Flesh and Pod. It's fine. You can join our Discord. The link is in the fucking show notes, people. Now, I shit you not. I have had 10 separate DMs on Discord asking me, how do I join your Discord? For 169 fucking weeks. The link has been in the goddamn show notes. Just click the fucking link.
Counterpoint, you are expecting card game players to read.
It's a fatal flaw, I know. But whatever. Fuck it. I guess DM me if you need a link to our Discord.
There you go. See, customer service isn't hard.
I guess, Darick, where can they find you?
Sipping that Ecto Cooler, singing my Viserai song.
That was in tune? Where was that earlier?
Fuck, man, I don't know. It was by accident, I promise.
Just the memory of the Ecto Cooler. It just brought it out.
I've never felt more powerful than when I'm on the Ecto Cooler. Even the memories bring out the best in me. BlueSky at charmer.com, our Discord. You should join it. We have fun there. I'm usually in either the Pickle channel or the other amazing channels. Basically every channel I'm in is the good one.
Well, Matt is out here trying to earn points by scoring up by offering to send out spicy pickle Cheetos to both the Chester Cheeto that we never knew we needed, plus the Pickle Princess, and it's the same fucking person. So, Matt, Anna, where can they find you?
That's why I'm on the app formerly known as Twitter as AnnaBorder2 and BlueSky as Dr. Runebabe.
So that's the better one.
Yes, of course.
I'm mainly just on BlueSky at apparently Sergeant Snipes 3094.
3094 SGT Snipes, right?
Yes.
Got you.
Same thing as Discord.
Yep. And that's what you are in Discord.
So if they can get in Discord, they can find me.
That's right. They can. When do I get to hang out with the West Virginians next? My liver is so prepared.
I was gonna say, well, if you
World
came to my
or-
30th birthday party, but
Yeah, my parents own a bar too. We were going to go there with you.
Oh my
But-
god.
no, we'll make it happen. We're gonna try now that Christopher is done with residency. We're actually trying to do some more competitions and travel a little bit more. And maybe Iowa is not that bad.
It's not. What about Vegas? How do you feel about Vegas?
I
Pretty
mean,
close.
it depends. We're gonna go compete in Roanoke next weekend to see if we can qualify. But I mean, we're leaning towards there. My little sister's wanting to elope, and so in Vegas, and I told her that I would be her witness. And
I will
yeah,
attend the wedding.
yeah. Apparently she wants to do it at the Sci-Fi Chapel.
Yep, that's a thing.
Yep, you can get Chewbacca to do it, no
You
English.
sure can.
And if you do it, you get 2 free mini golf passes if you get married there.
Fucking sold, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing. So like here a week ago today, it was -11 here.
Mhm.
Today it was 63. I have a tea time on Tuesday. I live in fucking fantasy land. None of this shit makes sense. But
No.
climate change is a myth. Who cares?
Yeah, but maybe Vegas. Yeah, so Vegas is a real possibility.
In
Okay.
Worlds, definitely.
Worlds on the East Coast.
Sure.
hopefully.
We'll do we'll do worlds. Sad I won't have you in London because the dream is to get the West Virginians along with me in one place and see if we can actually drink a bar dry.
I mean, is Az not going to come to Worlds though?
I don't know yet. He will actually probably respond now that that's been brought up. So he got a new job, so he's been doing that, and he's been kind of trying to bide his time. He's set aside time for London, obviously, because he's already in England. We'll see. I would love to have him come across, and then just have this confluence of fucking degens, and we'll see if we can empty a bar of their booze. All right, well, that's our show for this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Anna, for coming and hanging out with us. Matt, thank you for being a value member of the Patreon. And I guess we'll do this again next week for 170, because why the fuck not? Bye!
Bye.